Hey everybody, and welcome back to the BS podcast. Tonight is a very special episode, as it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. It's I think a pretty unique thing that I've been able to accomplish. As I've said before on this channel, me and my family are pretty close, and as you know, I'm very passionate about anime. And it was, I would say, about a year or so ago now, maybe even two, that I started showing my father some anime. And tonight I wanted to sit down and talk with Padre Miasma, as it were, about his experience with anime and kind of what it is to be an in air quotes older anime fan. So without further ado, introducing this is my dad. How are you doing?
Good.
It's good to have you here. I mean, I see you pretty often. We still live together. So, so yeah, I'd say it was like about a year or year and a half, 2 years ago now, that I first showed it to you. Did you have any idea that I watched anime before then at all?
From conversation, you mentioned it.
Yeah. But I think like back in the day, it would have been like Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Would have been like different,
Right.
different sort of stuff. And it was a couple years ago where I started actually collecting stuff, and I remember distinctly that I got a Tokyo Ghoul Season 1 Collector's Edition from Amazon, and I was going to do an unboxing video of it on an older channel that I was on, and you had seen it upstairs. You had seen it when I was opening it at first, and you thought it's a pretty cool looking box and stuff like that. And I think you had finally been like, oh man, what is this or whatever. And then at the same time, I had worked up sort of the courage to show anime to someone who hadn't seen it before, something I hadn't really done. And fortunately and unfortunately, we watched Tokyo Ghoul. And do you remember that show at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not the greatest, I would say.
It wasn't bad.
It's all right. I mean, but in comparison to what you've watched.
Well, since then we've watched a lot better stuff.
Yeah. So I made a Mal list for my dad, my anime list, and I'll put that in the description box, or I might put that as a comment because we're consistently adding to it. But as of now, he has seen about 36 different shows and or films, and that's counting multiple seasons of stuff. And kind of to put it in perspective, I mean, he's still seen quite a few episodes because he has seen all of Inuyasha and all of Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I'm trying to think of anything on here that's also really long. Durarara, all the seasons of Durarara.
Inuyasha,
yeah, I'd said that. That's the real long one.
Yeah.
And recently we started Naruto, although we're not going to watch that whole thing. I'm gonna cut that at a certain point, just because it's too much. And but yeah, he's seen a lot of stuff, a lot of different stuff. And I had asked a question on my Twitter page. If you don't follow me, please follow @GyreMedia. And I also asked some people in my Discord chat that about some questions that they might have for an older anime fan. But I guess we'll open up with what were your perceptions of anime before knowing it? You've probably heard of the term maybe in passing or something like that, but before you saw anything, what did you think?
Initially, it would have been childish cartoons, stuff that kids would watch on a Saturday morning, or no serious content or topics or plot lines. And
yeah, so similar to cartoons here.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z and Speed Racer and The Simpsons.
Yeah, interesting that you pair those together. But so it's similar to some American animation. And I could see, I think a lot of people might look at it like that. But I don't think it took very long to kind of change that perception.
I think a lot of people misconceive it as being immature.
Yeah.
They don't realize that some of them are developed and they have extremely good plot lines, and the animation in some of them is just incredible.
Yeah. Now, I mean, of course, I haven't shown him anything that's like super like immature. There is stuff that is super immature in the medium, but then, like you said, a lot of it is quite the opposite, which I think is why a lot of people are actually fans to begin with. And of course, it's something like it's just something different. It's something like from a different culture. So that I think intrigues a certain demographic of people and pushes a different demographic of people away from it. But so now that you've seen, you're pretty seasoned in anime, I would say, almost approaching like 40 shows by now. And we've talked about this in the past. What are some that really like stood out to you? What would you say are some of the more memorable shows that you've seen?
5 meters per second.
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters per
Yep.
second.
Okay.
Definitely Death Note.
Death
That's
Note.
my favorite.
Death Note's your favorite, right?
Yep. my
Okay.
favorite.
And why is Death Note your favorite?
Because it had a very mature plot line, and I think it was developed very well.
Yeah. And it wasn't too long. It didn't really like drag, right?
Yep.
We watched some of the live action Death Notes as well, the Japanese ones and unfortunately the American one. But you've seen all that. But you like the anime version the best, if I remember
Yes.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
So, the movies were good.
Yeah.
But the anime was definitely better because you had a chance to develop as the plot developed. The movies kind of packed everything in too much.
Yeah, I can
Same
see
with
that.
Ghost in the Shell.
Okay. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, okay, so he has also seen the Ghost in the Shell film and Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, the series, and the live-action movie that came out, like, I don't know, a year ago. And so we've gotten to see all of that.
And the movie was good for anybody who went to the movies, but if you watched the anime, there was a letdown.
Yo, for sure.
Because the movie just kind of destroyed everything that the anime built up in you.
Yeah, I would agree. Now and then I think that the American Death Note kind of dropped the ball with that too.
Yeah.
It was weird. Just watch the anime, I would say to people. Now, and you've even like ventured off on like you've watched some stuff on Netflix that I haven't even seen. Like you started Seven Deadly Sins, and I know you were kind of into that a little bit, and I actually haven't really seen that aside from some episodes.
Sinbad, some of the Sinbads.
Sinbad, okay.
But that was I lost interest in that pretty quick. It wasn't.
Yeah, Netflix's anime they need to kind of step its game up a little bit. I mean. But luckily, I mean, you have me in my wall of anime that I'm looking at. Yeah, so I've tried to guide him through a little bit. I think I misstepped a little bit by doing Tokyo Ghoul first, because it's certainly not the greatest thing in the world. And I wouldn't even recommend Tokyo Ghoul as a first anime for people. I guess I'll ask this before I even just make it.
Yeah, but then they have a greater appreciation for the good stuff.
That's true. I could have just showed you something really terrible. What do you think, out of what you've seen, and I know it's probably hard to think of like everything, what would you recommend to someone for their first anime? Probably a movie, I think we had said, right? A film, and rather than a show, because pretty much everybody can just sit down for a film.
Well, it would either be Death Note or one of the Full Alchemist movies.
The Full Alchemist, or do you mean the Shinkai movies?
Well, I wasn't going to set the bar so high that anything they watched thereafter.
That's true.
Right, you've got to ease them into it. So I was trying to pick something that's very good, very interesting, and would draw a mature crowd to it. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to some of the other stuff that has excellent plots, but the animation's not as good, you don't want to lose them.
That's true.
So you want to kind of suck them in.
Right. Yeah, I just think with some people you only have like one shot. So like you gotta try, like, okay, we even tried it with
Well, with
My
your
mom.
mom.
My mom.
With your mom, I mean, Death Note left a good impression on her. Had you done,
And
had
she
you
saw
done something different, I don't think she even would have watched to the end.
Yeah. She has seen the Japanese live action. She has not seen the anime. For anime wise, we went with the Garden of Words, a Makoto Shinkai film, which a director that I really really like, and I think you feel the same. Really highly praised. If you haven't really heard of him, just think Your Name. I'm sure you've heard of that movie before. He's famous for his level of animation. He also pretty much only does films. I don't think he hasn't really done a series yet. So typically he has a pretty large budget. But it's still really good work, and we've seen pretty much everything that I own everything that he's made, and we've watched together pretty much almost everything. One that was really cool that I remember, and this is a cool story about Shinkai himself, is that we watched Voices of a Distant Star.
Yep.
Which is a 20-minute short film, which the story behind it is far more interesting than the actual
The little
work.
girl on the spaceship.
Yes.
Yep.
For those that don't know, Voices of a Distant Star was Shinkai used to be a game designer and was working on art for video games and decided to make his own animation and basically made the anime Voices of a Distant Star a short basically on his own. The characters are voiced by him and his then girlfriend, and I believe the music was either done by him or one composer that he knew, and it basically animated on one laptop computer. And it kind of looks like that compared to stuff nowadays, but it's still pretty good. And yeah, that was an interesting, and to see the roots of that, and then progressing through the rest of his films to Garden of Words and 5 centimeters per second and Your Name, which we got to see in theater together, which was pretty cool. Yeah, we're both pretty big Makoto Shinkai fans.
Your Lie in April was good.
That's a good one. Yep, that was a Netflix one. Yeah, stuff like Your Lie in April, I think, is something that would get judged for how it looks. It's a bubbly looking show. It's about it's about high schoolers. It's very emotional, melodramatic, but it finds its maturity. It grows, and I think that a lot of people probably wouldn't stick around long enough to see that. But fortunately, you have. So I'm gonna get to some of the questions that were posed by some people on Twitter and in the Discord chat. So let's see. So Bob Samurai wanted to know, do you recommend anime to other people, and how would you go about doing it? I guess maybe in kind of what shows, what would you say? I mean, I think you've told me that you said people at work.
I've actually, at break times at work, talked to people. You ask what you did the night before and all of that, and I said, I'll let them know, hey, I was watching something with my son, and I explained to them what you do, and I talk about what we watched.
Mm-hmm.
Or at one time I was exploring on my own, watching Attack of the Titans.
Attack on Titan. Yep.
and which I gave up on.
Yeah, that poster right there.
Because
they
it
can't
sucks.
It's like, oh man, people are gonna get triggered. No, I think it's overrated too.
It's way oversold. You can't go into any store where they don't have all kinds of T-shirts and memorabilia and crap for it. But really, compared to other stuff that's out there, it's real short on plot, and they don't tell you shit.
I would agree. With that. And so if someone at work, if someone asked you they're like, all right, I'm gonna check out this anime thing, you'd probably say what, Death Note?
Yeah, to start off with, I'd send somebody to Death Note first.
Okay.
I liked Durarara and Durarara 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought those were good.
Yeah. That'd be a crazy first one, though, I think. With, all of the craziness that goes on.
Yeah, I'd steer people away from Soul Eater right off the bat.
Right. Because Soul Eater, we were talking one day, it's like the Tim Burton of anime.
Right.
And some people would not be able to handle that right away. A good anime to watch around Halloween time, I would say. Okay.
And stuff with like a super serious topic like that Watanabe or...
Shinichiro Watanabe is the director.
No, the one with the girl with the social issues.
Oh, Watamote.
Watamote.
Oh, yes. Watamote. Yeah, I'd probably steer clear. Definitely.
Right. But it's excellent, but it's anime can do something that other stuff can't. It can tackle subjects that would be more difficult for live action.
Yeah.
And they can do it in a way that's, I wouldn't say tongue-in-cheek, but in a way that they can get to the meat of something without it being too heavy.
Yeah.
It is. Then all of a sudden you realize, surprisingly, wow, that's a pretty heavy topic they're dealing with.
Right. I think that's a cool benefit of something being animated. There's the other side of the coin that I've argued in past videos too, that I think, and I think it's more so that anime just hasn't taken the step, is there's two genres where I think it struggles with, that being horror and comedy. Comedy more so because it's usually a cultural thing. What's funny over there isn't always funny here. And but I mean, sometimes you'll get some comedy in some shows, but then sometimes they'll just tell the same joke over and over again. And horror more so. This is more because I want more horror anime. It's hard to really even recommend a lot because a lot of them just aren't. You're not gonna really get scared. And I don't know if it's because it's animated or Japanese filmmakers can do horror. They did The Grudge. They did The Ring. They did all these films that scare people, and I think it'd be cool. It's like the only horror anime I think that we've really Shiki. If people ask me about Shiki, is the one with the vampires in the village. There's like a village in the middle of nowhere. We watched it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there's a village in the middle of nowhere, and these people move in, and they're definitely... It's kind of campy at the beginning, and it's hard to take it seriously just because the main characters are so stupid, because the people that move in are definitely vampires, but they don't believe it for 30 episodes that they're vampires. Yep. But it had some gory moments and some kind of scary moments, so that's the only... It's kind of the only horror. If people say "Oh, recommend a horror anime," that's hard. And I wish that would change. What is something? This is something I was curious. What is a type of anime? If you had the money and the funds or something like that, you were the director in a studio. What type of show would you make? If you were Watanabe, or if you had Studio Bones, you had the guys that made Full Metal or something. And you were given, we're going to do 26 episodes or something, and you get to do it. What do you think? What along the, or is there something that you would compare it to? Maybe a live action show that you watch or something that you would like to see animated.
Wow.
Interesting question.
Wow, that's an interesting question.
Because I know personally horror, and you might agree with this. I would like an ice hockey anime. Because there are sports anime. There's anime about baseball. There's anime about there's one anime about American football. There's anime about figure skating, and nothing.
Actually, we
about
haven't seen much sports.
Yeah, I haven't really shown you. I don't own it. I don't really own any of their sports. There are some. There's one about American football that I watch, although I don't know if it's dubbed.
Mostly sci-fi kind of stuff, but I really liked whatever genre you're going to put Death Note into. It's almost like a mystery,
suspense,
drama, and pitting two minds against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Light versus L, and
yeah.
That
like a thriller.
Really good.
Yeah, that's good. And you don't know what way it's sort of going to turn, and you don't know who's going to win, and you kind of don't even know who you're going to root for.
I mean, even that one was freaky.
Yeah.
It just takes you and shocks the hell out of you when
Yeah,
L dies.
Oh man, no. Okay, if you haven't seen Death Note yet, then you're done.
Sorry.
It's all right. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Eventually, we all die.
That's true. Unless you're in Seven Deadly Sins, then like everyone's immortal, which to me is really boring.
Oh, get in this shit.
Get in this shit. Neon Genesis Evangelion, everybody. Let's see what else we had. Light Lelouch asks, would you watch more animation if more of it was aimed at adults?
I'd like to see more that's aimed at
Yeah.
at adults.
Because it seems primary demographic is like a young, like teens to like maybe like young adult.
Right.
So
I ended up developing a liking for Inuyasha.
Yeah.
But really that's more of like a Dragon Ball Z kind of thing compared to Death Note.
Right. Definitely. For sure. And I mean, a lot of people would even argue that with Inuyasha, the joke that I always get, people joke about me in the chat. I'm the Inuyasha guy, apparently, because it is the first show I ever saw, and it is classified as like the demographic it's aimed for is more so younger women, young girls.
Really?
Because, well, if you think about it, it's written by a woman, and it is the protagonist is female, and it's from her perspective, and it's sort of, there's a lot of I mean, you know who she's gonna end up with, but like there's a lot of male characters, potential male suitors, if you will, that she's. But I mean, at the same time, it is actiony, which is why I like it. But yeah, Inuyasha's a pretty good show. Everybody can watch it.
Except for the clown in the baboon outfit.
Naraku, he's the man. I don't know. Can't have you on this channel if you're gonna make fun of my man Naraku. He's the greatest villain of all time.
But he's not as nice as Lord Shishomaru.
Lord Sesshomaru. Yeah, you're big on Sesshomaru. He's pretty cool. I'll give you that. J-Chip asks, what are your thoughts on your son's glorious beard?
I wish I could grow one.
Almost. You can grow like a goatee. It's almost there. But, yeah, unfortunately, some of us were born to have them and some weren't, I suppose. Nia-chan. Nia-chan from Discord asks, did Miasma brainwash you to watch anime? And Nia's from Sweden. You see, she's this, like, seemingly kind girl, but she's gonna go throwing words like that. And no. I mean, I think you can confirm.
Well, the question was aimed at me, because did my son brainwash me? Absolutely not. My son and I have been close since the day he was born, and he's always gotten involved in stuff that I'm involved in. And then when I realized this was something that he was really serious about, I kind of paid a little bit more attention to it. And then one day, he just said, hey, you want to watch something really cool? And I started watching it with him, and he loves to talk about it. So we talked about it, and we actually, I think the very first time I watched Death Note, I was taking notes.
Yes.
I actually took some notes on it just to make sure that I wasn't going to get lost, because I knew you were going to want to talk about it.
Yeah. And this similar situation with very underrated show not a lot of people know, Now and Then, Here and There.
Oh, yeah.
Very good show. One of my favorites. Let's see.
Well, I found that I had to take notes in the very beginning, because with the names that I had a hard time
they're
keeping
foreign,
track of if we were going to have a conversation later.
Yeah.
I was forever bastardizing the names and mixing characters up and giving them totally new names.
Mixing up character
then it
names.
made the conversations later when we were talking about it, like, which character are you talking about?
I guess that brings me to a question that I had. Who are some of your favorite anime characters and why?
the bike rider, the
Celty.
the hooligan, Dooligan,
The Doulahan. Celty.
Celty.
Da-da-da. She's pretty cool.
In the same one, the bartender.
Shizuo.
Yeah.
Shizuo Hyojima. Which is funny because I like Izaya, and they're rivals. That's cool.
But we were similar in when we were watching Death Note in that I was more sympathetic towards Light.
Yeah, I hate Light.
And you really were sympathetic towards L.
Yeah, I like L.
And
yeah.
you know, but I from the very first opening scene or whatever, when the book dropped into his lap, as an older person, I looked at it and said it was kind of that but for the grace of God, there go I. What would I do if that book dropped in my lap?
Right.
And I think that's the moral question that after you watch that whole thing, a lot of people, you know, it's easy to say something till it actually happens.
Right, and then it's different.
Right.
Right.
So I sort of sympathized with him, saying, you know what, I probably would have opened up that book and started using it, and hopefully would not have percolated to the level of close to insanity that he percolated to.
And especially when you're like 17 or whatever he is.
Right.
When I would say this now, I at 25, I would not use a Death Note personally. At 17, I might have. Because it's just a different perspective on the world and just different emotions, I think, about things. I think the first time I saw Death Note, I was younger, so I think I was like, oh man, that'd be really cool to have this book. But looking back on it now, I had changed. But
it was very good, and the plot is what the plot is.
Yeah.
It was up to the person who wrote it. I could say that I'm mildly disappointed that somehow there wasn't a curve to Light's maturity with it, and that he didn't go totally off the deep end. And some, you know, I would have liked to have seen him kind of resolve that inner conflict and come back to some form of humanity instead of going off the deep end. But it's still, like I said, the plot is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's still, I think, it's a great anime.
Yeah. Similarly, Code Geass. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I always bring that one up. And it might be news for you. I don't know if I've told you, but we are getting new Code Geass. Code Geass, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be another season, which is kind of weird. If you recall what happens
at the very end.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like people, it's been a thing on the internet.
Well, even the end left the door kind of weirdly cracked open.
Yeah. But it was a good ending. And then I made a video about this like a while ago. I'm excited to have more because I love Code Geass, but
it's scary too. Are they going to turn around and ruin it now?
Yeah, it's called Lelouch of the Resurrection. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Starring Light Yagami.
Yeah, it's going to be a crossover. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is a jokey question, I suppose. So we know some of your favorite characters. In anime, we have a term called, among anime fans, we have a term called Best Girl. And we all know out there that Best Girl is Sango, because she's just the best female in all of anime. Who, I guess, would be, in any generalization, is your favorite female character? I guess you mentioned Celty.
But Celty's a ghost, a spirit.
That's true.
I like Sango, but I also like the protagonist in that. The female that kept dying had the spirits following around her.
What show?
The one that actually shot the arrow that pinned Inuyasha to
You're talking
the
about
tree.
Kikyo.
Kikyo, that's right.
Kikyo and Inuyasha, a character that I used to hate. But and I should make a video about this. I like her more every time I watch the show. Still nothing like Songo, but I used to really hate Kikyo, but which is actually cool that, and then you watch this, and then we talked about it a lot, and then our discussion made me like her more.
And her reincarnated
is Kagome.
Kagome, right?
Yeah, but Kikyo is cool. Yeah, and but that's an issue. That's a good choice. That's a good call on that. But yeah, I mean that wraps up like a lot of the questions that I have. But
there's a couple girls in Evangelion.
They're young though. Man. You gotta be careful. We'll get arrested.
Oh.
So like what? And we started Naruto recently. We've seen a little bit of that, and I know we had a disagreement in who we liked within Naruto, at least at the beginning. Now, if I understand it right, you like Sasuke.
Yes.
And I hate Sasuke. Yeah, I mean, and I think you'll see why I hate Sasuke eventually. But
well, in all that I had seen so far,
yeah.
Naruto is a pain in the ass.
That's
right?
true.
And he just seems level-headed enough to keep dealing with him, even though we can't stand him, but they're on the same squad or team. So, I don't know, he seems like a pretty decent character.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him do anything wrong yet.
That's true. But we'll get to that eventually, I suppose. But
and of course, wasn't their combined effort what made them the first team to pass
Kakashi's test?
Test.
Yeah.
Right, and it took the three of them to do it. And he
was
was part
definitely.
of that.
Yeah.
And I think if Naruto was left to his own, he would have screwed that up too.
That's true. All right. So, we like Death Note, we like Celty, we like Kikyo. People should watch anime. And I'm glad that you've enjoyed anime so far, and you can continue to enjoy it. And I look forward to watching some more stuff together. And it's a cool bonding experience. If you haven't tried it in the past, I would highly recommend showing someone who hasn't seen anime before. And sharing it with them if it's something you're very passionate about. And hey, the worst case scenario is that maybe they're not into it, and then you just don't have to talk about it ever again. They're not. I don't think it's going to be something that they're going to. It's not a scar that's going to exist forever. And obviously be careful about what you pick. Maybe don't show them High School DxD as their first anime. You're not gonna even know what that is, and that's all right. But and definitely don't show them a hentai as their first anime. I would say.
Don't waste their time with Attack on Titan.
Don't waste their time with Attack on Titan. There you go. It was a pleasure having you here. Thanks for talking, and thanks for enjoying anime with me. And guys, if you have any more questions, you can put them down in the comment section, and I'll reply back, or maybe I'll make another video in the future or something. And let me know what you guys think. And if you've ever shared anime with someone who hasn't seen it before, please comment down below how that went. I'd really like to know. As always, guys, follow me on Twitter at JyreMedia. And you can watch my live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. I stream Overwatch from 8 to 11 p.m. Thanks for coming. It was awesome having you here.
All right, excellent.
You ended up enjoying yourself? This wasn't that bad, right?
No, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun time. As always, guys, this is Miasma from JyreMedia, signing out.